Hello viewers, and welcome to our launch video looking at WRC 7. Well, obviously it's been a nice surprise, just looking around the menus there, and of course you have your career mode, which I'm just going into now, getting set up, and I'll be starting to work on my career going through the game and looking at various options and breaking that down. Kevin is going to be working on the review, but we've also got a team chat coming up as well, and you can see here some of the other various options, sorting out your rally routes, what's happening where, and other information you're presented with, as well as your sort of paddock area where the repairs are done to your car, as well as itinerary, other information as well in terms of helping your career. So really nice little background there, but I'm letting Kevin go through those reviews and really detail all of that. You start off of course in the junior WRC, and I've been running a bit of this as well, as you can see here, running on the PC version. And what's this, the Ford Fiesta? It's much slower than the sort of modern WRC cars, but also you have surprisingly long braking distances as well, so you certainly need to put some time into getting used to it. I find that I've got so used to the modern WRC cars that to go back to these, they feel sort of so sluggish and the braking points feel so much slower. So do start it in the right order and work your way along. But as ever, you can see from the environments themselves, I think this game's been a big surprise. Yes, they've built on the environments that were in the previous games, but that's a good thing. They've built on it, they've developed it, and they've really turned it into a realistic looking rally. And in that sense, it's been a really nice surprise. And when I was talking about it a few weeks ago, I was sticking my neck out. I'm the first person to try it out and say, actually, I really like this game. And then lots of other sort of reviews came in, seemingly liking it as well. So you're always sort of saying to yourself, do I like this game? Or I was saying at the time, did E3? I really enjoyed it. Was it as good as I remembered? And it was. And you can see here as well just how sort of challenging these stages are. I mean, they are very narrow, very challenging. Look at this behind the car. My goodness me, there really isn't anywhere to move off-road. And some of these sections, I was chatting to Kevin recently, and he said to me, wow, I was doing a rally and I literally got bumped off the track. There were so many bumps on the road. You're really feeling all of that with the car. And it's very competitive with the various leaderboards. People are really going for it. So of course the game's released this week. The physical copies, digital downloads, been available for a week or so. And do let me know your thoughts on what you think of WRC 7 so far. I think it's a considerable step forward on last year. I think they're in a much better place now. In terms of review, we've got the separate impressions video coming up, and there are various little bits and pieces which we'd like to see improved in a future version. I think now they've actually got the idea on how to create the rally stages, and obviously they've put a lot of work into bringing them to this point. I think what we really want now is more stages, longer rallies, more sort of points where you need to repair your car. If you go back to old games like Colin McRae Rally, such like, by the time you got to the final rally, you were repairing and starting the rally with a broken car and tippy-toeing through the entire rally. So here we are. What we're looking at here, of course, is the first two rallies of the career mode, which I've recorded here. And it kind of throws you in at the deep end. I mean, these are quite challenging stages. Throws you in at night as well. I thought they'd wait a few rallies to that point. Well, it's not night time, but it's certainly a bit darker till we got to this point. But either way, working my way around. Now, I've started my career on the hard setting. I wouldn't advise a lot of you do. I think medium is more than ample. It is quite hard on hard. It's quite a challenge. Obviously, there's the rally purists who are on this all the time, who will probably win every rally because that's what they do and they're really good at it. And when you see the leaderboards, just how good the guys are that are playing this all the time, my goodness me, they really are absolutely flying. Replays, of course, we've talked about in the original previews. I mean, it's a shame there wasn't a bit more done with the replay cameras. That's an area for next year they need to improve. And of course, when you get to the end of your rally, you've got the option of repairing your car. And again, I really like these screens. It's really nice the way it's visually laid out for you in terms of each component. You also have the option of an automatic repair. So, for example, I don't have much car damage here. Suspension's a bit worn, but I really need new tyres and brakes. So I just went with the automatic button. And you have a button there that automatically fixes what you need fixed in terms of urgent car repairs, which is nice and quick there. But I think it's really nice that they've added just simplicity but nice visual design to it as well, and you see that fixed edge in your paddock area. And so we see another rally here I did actually. I went back to do an Italian epic stage, and wow, again, I really enjoyed doing this in the 2016 cars. You know, it's so rugged. I'm going to do this again because this was my first time running the epic stages. I've got some videos. This is going to come up on a separate video, and I do make some mistakes. I mean, because it's my first time doing it, and I find that there's always sort of 3 or 4 corners in every stage where I just don't. I need to do that again because I just know that I mess up there, and I think I'm going to come back to this and run it again. But I really enjoyed it, you know, and it's nice to push harder and harder on those corners, and there's so much time to be gained. It's massive, you know. So yeah, you might finish a minute down on the top of the leaderboard, but you realise actually there's a few corners here where you can save 30 seconds just like that. And also there's a couple of penalties I pick up as well. So I really enjoyed doing this stage. It felt authentic, it felt right. And look at the views, fantastic, really nice views. I did hit a member of the crowd here somewhere, I think, and then I on an earlier run where I just restarted at that point. I'm like, nope, hit the crowd, you immediately get a penalty. They shouldn't be standing there, should they? But it's really nicely done, and I think you can see for yourself from the over-the-shoulder cam using, and I've been testing obviously the Thrustmaster Sparco rim there. This is more the GT rim, so it's more recommended for GT cars and track cars than rally cars, but either way it feels great anyway, so I've been using this on here, and it gives you that sort of appropriate immersion. It's amazing really in terms of all-round improvements for me. Just a surprise of the year. You know, improved audio, very fun, very playable, and I think it's everything you want in a WRC game. It's a nice balance, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's lots of incremental improvements that they can make, and we'll talk about that in the extended team chat that's going to be coming up as well. But if you have questions for the team chat, do let us know here in these comments, and we can talk about them. Just mention for the team chat and we can talk about those. I say that, I don't know when it's going to be recorded, and this video may go out before or after the actual team chat does, but we'll ask on Twitter as well, so when the time comes. Now I'm racing around Finland here, just having a drive. And again, this was in the Toyota 2017 Toyota car, and I didn't finish this stage. I think I crashed out halfway and thought, you know, I'm going to do something. Here I am, make a mistake, goodness me, and then think, right, better of it, I'm going to restart, do something else. And then I was having a look here at the weekly challenge they have. They have weekly challenges on there, and I thought I'll have a quick go at the weekly challenge and see how I get on. And again, I just got absolutely destroyed. I mean, I wouldn't mind if I'm not hanging around, you know, I'm sliding the car around, but what I realised was you've got to know the stage. You can't just go into it like a rally where you don't know where you're going. I mean, I don't know the stage, I don't really know where I'm going, I haven't memorised any of it, so I'm listening to the co-driver. And sometimes, you know, you need a lot of concentration. You can listen to the co-driver and you can be bang on. Sometimes he says a corner that you don't hear very well, and then you make a mistake and you just lose time, or you slow down a bit because you're a bit more tentative. Whereas to be on the leaderboard, you need to literally memorise the stage and then go hell for leather in terms of understanding where you can cut corners, how you can get into those corners, and you'll save seconds on every corner. And it really is as simple as that. Suffice to say, that's all going to come in a separate video anyway, just having a look at some of that stuff. And then I did the Australian epic stage as well. Again, I love doing this. You know, this was great. I halfway through the stage though, I couldn't quite see where I was going very well in the shadows. There's a lot of shadows on this particular track, and I couldn't see where I was going, so I ended up putting my headlights on, and it's much easier to see in dawn conditions on this track. So a lot of it's quite dark until I put the headlights on. But either way, enjoyed that. Also partially down to the fact I use a low brightness on my TV screen so that I can film it. Otherwise you just end up with a white beam of light when you're filming a normal screen like that with a standard level of brightness. So it helps. I'm sitting sort of, you know, a metre from my TV screen now, of course. But look at that, those sun sort of glows there, the sunrise, you know, and the dirt on the screen. On the PC version in particular, it looks absolutely spectacular. And again, this does put the developer under some pressure in terms of the Xbox One X version. Let's hope, I think in reality we're just going to see an increased resolution from the standard console version, but I'd like to see something closer to the PC version, because there's no reason why there shouldn't be in terms of technical specs. Again, that was a nice rugged circuit, and then I finished on the Great Orne sort of track, again back in the junior WRC. I did this before doing the career. I was just learning how to drive the car, and I found this very, very challenging in this car. It wasn't as manoeuvrable in some respects. It was a bit slower on the brakes, and but visually very authentic. You know, the textures, the lighting, the look to it. It shows also how tricky this is as well for the drivers. It's very precise, very tricky to drive, and it's barely one car wide a lot of the time. And you know, when you're sliding the car through gaps here and there, you know, it's very difficult not to clip the edges. And of course, if you get it wrong and you clip the wrong edge, you're soon going to be spinning out. So very challenging, nice to look at, as I make a mistake there on the brakes. Very challenging, nice to look at. I hope you've enjoyed the WRC 7 coverage. There's going to be more on the channel because I'm enjoying it and I'd like to play more of it. And also we've got the team chat to come as well. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon.